What's up, my lovely bumbarinas and bumbarinas? Lemnis is back today. Sorry for not making videos for past couple of days. My phone is broken, so I had to borrow another phone, which isn't that good. So I can't record Guild War or RTA right now because it's too laggy. I mean, the recording is too laggy since the phone cannot handle it. But so I thought I could make my first guide, and it will be about Giants B10. It will be the ultimate Giants B10 guide. What do I mean by ultimate? Today I will teach you how to build a Giants B10 team with the monsters you want, or with the monsters you have. You know, of course there are farmable teams, there are the standard teams, like there are thousands of videos about it. Go ahead, watch them if you want to see the same thing over and over again. And I can say you right now, you can go with Veromos, Bella, Megan, and 2 damage dealers which can survive and do good damage, preferably AoE damage dealer, and you can beat Giants B10. Maybe it's not 100%, but it will be fast, it will be pretty safe, and it will work. Just get speed, HP on your 3 core monsters. I mean Megan, Veromos, and Bella, and it's easy. But for other peoples, maybe you have other monsters which can work here, and you are like when I was watching these type of guides, I was always like, man, sure, like these are the most effective monsters. I mean, you farm a Bella, you fuse Veromos and stuff, and like you're ready to go to do a lot of things, but maybe you don't want to do that right now. So I will just give you a chance. I will not recommend you not doing this. Like, for example, Veromos, great monster. It's a must-have, I think, still. So, but maybe you just don't have Veromos, and you are like, man, it will take me like a couple of weeks to fuse it, and I don't want to wait for it. I have some decent runes which can potentially do Giants B10. So this guide is for you guys. So what are we going to talk about? First, I will showcase the potential monsters which can be used in this dungeon. After that, I will present you some team compositions which can work on giants, and after that I will teach you how to tune the different teams to get the fastest and safest runs out of it. But first, I have the wrong monster here. I have to get something else here, because I've switched runes from my water monkey. He's not working anymore. So yeah, so first off, we start off with the potential monsters. And first, what are the essentials, buffs and debuffs you need in Giants B10? I think if you are new to this topic, which you will if you're watching this video, then the first things you want to talk about is the attack break debuff. I think it's one of the most important debuffs in this dungeon, because the giant can hit really hard, especially when you're not going with wind monsters which can be glanced. He will crit and he will kill that monster with his revenge. So attack break is mandatory. The second debuff, well, before I go to the second debuff, some monsters, some examples will be on the screen. They will be these are only examples. Like, you can go to the wiki and look for decreased attack power, and then look for a monster you have, and you can use it in there. But I will give you some examples, some good ones and free-to-play ones, so farmable ones. Okay, you can see them on the screen. They should be right there. Alright, so yeah, the second thing is the glancing debuff, which helps with the giant as well, because with the glancing debuff you are not as vulnerable as you were without it, because like I said, it reduces the chance of getting killed by the giant. So you should bring glancing if you cannot speedrun. Like, all that I'm talking about right now is all for teams that are not going for the the speed run, because the speed run you kill the giants like in one turn. I mean, one turn, like he doesn't go his turn, or he will go maximum one turn. Then you can go with the speed team, and then you don't care about attack break and glancing, because you're not getting hit by the giants anyway. So for that teams it doesn't apply. But if you're going for a clear team, like you want to clear giants and that's all you are shooting for at the moment, then you need the glancing debuff. The second thing is the defense buff, which will help you survive. Like you can see where this is going. Like survivability is like the most important thing here right now, because the waves don't deal as much damage, but the giant does. And since he has a counter, you will get hit one of your monsters. And if the wrong monster gets hit, you can lose your run. So yeah, we have the attack break, we have the glancing hit, we have the defense buff. So the next important thing is, wait, let me see about it. Last thing we need to talk about is I mean, not the last thing, but speed debuff. The giants boss is really slow, so if you speed debuff him, he will get much slower. You won't take a turn, you can take more turns, which will help you to survive. So speed debuff, really important. If you speed debuff him, you should speed buff your team, so speed buffer would be nice. Then attack bar manipulation, whether you decrease the attack bar of the giant or increase your own attack bar. If you're new to the game, I would always go for increasing attack bar, then decreasing enemies attack bar, because with the decrease you can be resisted and that can fuck you up, but there's no mechanism that stops you from increasing your own attack bar, at least not in giants. So you should go for attack bar manipulation. Then dots can help you make your runs even safer, because you can stack up dots, and when the giants move, he dies before he does damage. So if you have enough dots to kill him and you would die, the dots can save your run. So don't underestimate that, you know. Then we have the strip, because one of the towers gives attack buff to the giants, and that is crucial. If he revenges you with the attack buff and the armor break on yourself, like none of your units will survive that, not even your greatest tank. I mean, if you're a late game player, sure, you can tank it, no problem, but if you're early to mid game and like under 30k HP, I think he crits for 30 or 40k, and like it's huge. So, and I already talked about it, you need cleanse immunity to get rid of the armor break or prevent your team from getting armor broken. So if you're not fast enough to shake off the armor break before he moves, you're pretty much fucked. Especially when he uses his second skill, the swipe. It does great damage if it doesn't glance and no attack break. If you have armor break, like most of your units will get wiped. Then we have two other things which are useful but not mandatory. The attack buff to make your runs faster and clear the waves faster. It makes it safer, since if you kill a monster, it cannot do damage to you. So attack buff is always nice to have, and there are a lot of attack buffer which have something else in their kit which is useful. And then of course the defense break. Why is defense break not the most important thing here? Because you can do damage with dots, it's a viable strategy, and then you don't need defense break. But I preferably would always go with the defense breaker. So, and when I mean a defense breaker, I mean something that will, like, there's on every turn there's a chance to defense break the giant. Like if you go with the defense breaker that has only on the skill 3, and then you wanted to defense break the giant and the skill is on cooldown and whatnot, it will not work. So don't do it. Go for a reliable defense breaker. I've listed some there in the in the picture here right now. Yeah, these are all the buffs. Now you have seen all the potential monsters you could use. There are much more. Like I said, you could Google. I think the last update got something like you can now look for immunity buffer in game. So like for example, or like attack bar buffer or a speed debuffer and whatnot. You can look for it, and then you see all the monsters that have it in the kit, and then you can like build your own team with the monsters you like. Like this is a game. You don't always have to go for the most efficient strategy. You can go like what is most fun for you. And if there are units, like I was like this when I was watching this type of videos back then, when I was like really beginner, I just wanted someone like who would use like other stuff, or would tell me, man, these monsters can be used too, so don't be afraid to use them. But there was always the same monsters, the same strategies, and it was just boring. So if you're looking for something like this, like I said, there are other videos out there. But for me, we're gonna use some underrated and underused monsters. So yeah, now you've seen all the potential monsters and the potential, the needed roles for the giants, and now we can go through the comps and how to tune them. The first comp is I would call it the clear comp. Like the whole purpose of this team is to clear the giants, so you can beat it, nothing else. You don't care for the time. It can take like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You still gonna clear it, and the only goal here is to get 100% success rate, because if you go for slow runs and they are not stable, it's not really worth it. But if they are stable, you will always get a rune or something for your 8 energy. So for the stable run, you need attack break, glancing debuff, defense buff, speed debuff, I would say, but it's not like a must-have, but it will help you much. Speed buff, in attack bar buffer or decreaser, and strip, cleanse and immunity. Dots, attack buff and defense break are not like something you need to have there, but if there are some monsters which brings them to your team, then it's even better. So as you can see from the examples, there are monsters like Shannon. Like Shannon is great for this dungeon. She provides so much: glancing hit, attack speed slow, attack buff, defense buff, and it's permanent, and it's so great. But I would not 6-star it. I did it. I think she was my first 6-star because I needed to 6-star her because she could survive the Giants B10 run and make it safe for me. When she survived, I've cleared it all the time, and that's why I 6-starred her first. She was my first 6-star, but I regret it. I never use her, not on Giants anymore. Like I used to use her in TOA and whatnot. So I've listed her here. If you like her, go ahead, but she will fall off so fast. Like you will progress. There are so many new monsters, and like there were so many updates since then that like other monsters have catched up, and I would not recommend you to 6-star. If you want to use her in Giants, go ahead, but do it with her on 5 stars if you can do it, and 6-star the other monsters. I think the best alternative for Shannon is Megan. So if you want to have something like this, go for Megan. Like Megan is useful anywhere else because you can use her in PvP. If you have Bastet though, then go for Bastet and fuck Megan. To be honest, you don't have to 6-star Megan if you already pulled the Bastet. So if you're new to the game and you have the blue desert queen, then do her and forget about Megan, because it's like basically the same monster but much better. Because Bastet has glancing hit, armor break, heal block is not so important, but you know, she has it. Attack break on the first skill. She gives shield, which is in my opinion better than defense buff, because like defense buff only reduces damage, but shield can like nullify the damage if you have a really strong shield. So I would always go for a shield because it helps with the survivability. Yeah. So you have all the roles. Now you can pick for any roles one monster, and you will see you cannot take, because you can only have 5 monsters, and we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 roles to fill. So we have to have at least one monster which which applies to 3 roles, or like 2 monsters for 2 roles, and so on. Like, you know where this is getting, and it's always good to have multiple monsters for the same role, because then it's more reliable, you know. So don't be afraid to overlap the roles there. So that's all for the composition. Now for the tuning, like for the clear team, if you have a defense breaker, I would always make my defense breaker the fastest monster. Why? Because it will speed up your run, and it will not like give you any negative side effects, you know. So go for the defense breaker first. It will speed up your run. Like how should I put it? Let's take Galleon and Veromos. Like, most people use these 2 monsters together in dungeons and whatnot, and I used them for a long time, and I gave my better runes, my faster runes, to Veromos all the time, because I wanted it to be faster and stronger than anyone else in my team, because it was one of my strongest monsters back then when he came out. But when I switched the speed and made my Galleon 1 speed faster than my Veromos, my giant B10 run like cut down like for, I don't know, 30 seconds, and that's huge. Like, if you go for 10 runs, it's like 300 seconds. It's like, what, 5 minutes, something like this. Yeah, 5 minutes. So it's really good. For the second one, the second to go should be your cleanser or immunity buffer, because these guys need to be fast, especially a cleanser immunity buffer. As long as he's faster than the giant, you just need to cast the immunity and you're safe. But the cleanser, he has to get a turn to cleanse off the armor break before the giant moves or revenges. So your cleanser should be really fast. After that, your attack bar buffer or reduction, you could argue with, sure, like, you could of course make your attack bar buffer, and you should make it faster than anyone else. Like, let's say you use a Bernard, then of course Bernard is your fastest monster, so not your defense breaker. But if you're going for attack bar reduction, your attack bar reducer doesn't have to be your fastest monster, but has to be fast to reduce attack bar, so you can get as much turns as possible. So after that, I would say you are pretty flexible, yet you could go with the attack breaker, the glancer, the defense buffer, and whatnot. Like, you will see, like, if you go, let's say Megan, then your attack bar buffer goes first, your stripper goes first, your daughter goes first, and your defense buffer and attack bar buffer goes first in one turn. You know what I mean? Like, you will have all these guys go first. I mean, all these roles go first before anything else. So you should always like prioritize the things I said right now. Like, your attack bar buffer should go first, defense breaker, cleanser immunity, stripper, attack break, glancing it, like these things. Your daughter, your speed debuffer, like things like that. This is only a bonus. They don't have to be the fastest ones. So yeah. But one thing to note, if you go for the clear run, no matter what roles you pick there, and what monsters you pick for the roles, there have to be at least one healer. Do not forget about that. So if you put like all these roles together but don't have a healer, it won't work, because your runes are not high quality and you won't take the giants down fast enough before he does good damage to you. So you need a healer. Do not forget about that. So the second type of comp I want to use about is the CC and attack bar comp, where you go with some attack bar manipulation and go with dots or damage. since attack bar manipulation is like you wanna stop the giants from moving, I would not recommend dots, because if you keep depleting the attack bar and the giant is not moving, the dots are for nothing. So I would go with some damage dealer instead. So yeah, for this kind of comp you need some special monsters though. You cannot go for the attack bar manipulation team as a free-to-play player. It's just not possible. I mean, you could, but then you must have like something like Immensity farmed. If you have farmed Immensity, then maybe you could do something like Roy, Immensity, Bernard, and whatnot. Bella is an attack bar buffer, so something like this, and you would prevent the giants from moving. But to be honest, to make a team like this work, you need something like Hua. I think Hua is pretty essential for a comp like this, because she can deplete attack bar every turn. But Immensity can do it too, because decreasing attack bar every with every attack for 30% is huge. And yeah, that's the whole point of this team. Like you could go like 2 attack bar buffer, 1 attack bar reduction, like huge attack bar reduction, maybe even Royd, because he reduces attack bar by 100%, so he depletes it full, but it's on the cooldown, so if you get resisted, you are pretty much fucked. Hua though, she can proc additional attack, inbuilt attack, so she attacks twice per turn if you're lucky, and can reduce attack bar by 30% or 40%. I'm not sure how much she reduces right now. And yeah, then you put 2 damage dealer, preferably something that can manipulate attack bar 2, and go for a team like this, and it will work. It will be faster than your clear team. It will be more risky, and it requires better runes, especially speed. But since you are farming giants, if you go for the clear team, you're farming swift runes, and you're farming better swift runes, and so on, and then you can translate into these attack bar manipulation type of comps. You could still go with your clear team, give it better runes, it will make it faster anyway, and you could like take out some of the rolls, like say glancing hit and attack break. You can get it out and use damage dealers instead, so if you can survive the giants attacks. Then for the last comp, it's the speed comps. For the speed comps though, you need either AoE ignore defense like Lucian, or you need something like a Galleon. Megan Lua could also work if you have them. Like you need AoE armor break, or Mentura could work too. AoE armor break and AoE attack buff for your team. Like Megan is great for that role, or Bastet, since they give attack bar 2, so you don't have to use too much speed on your nucleus. And yeah, you could go something like, I think for the speed team it's pretty standard. If you have Galleon, then you always go Galleon, attack bar buffer like Bernard for example, who gives speed too, and he has a armor break on the second skill. If Galleon fails, Bernard will move twice most of the time and armor break the giants, and have the attack break too, which helps if, like I said, if something goes wrong, which can happen in a speed team. Like I said, Galleon, Bernard, and either you go with one support to make it not too fast but safer. You could go with the healer maybe, and 2 AoE damage dealers. Lucian is great, but you can go with Julie and the Wind Phantom Thief. It's Julian, I think. He can work too because he does good damage too, but he has only 1 AoE. So preferably 2 AoEs, water, light, dark or wind monster. 2 of them. If you're fast enough, you can go Bernard, Galleon and 3 monsters. You could go with 2 AoEs to clear the waves, and 1 heavy single target Yuka to take down the giants as fast as possible. Something like Lynn, Bethany, what else? Like you can go to the Summoners War Wiki page and look for monsters with high multipliers, and like there are so many out there, really great monsters. Something like Crow, like if you have some debuffs, he does good damage. Yeah, anything that can deal great damage to one target is enough there. Yeah, if you don't have a Galleon, then you can go with something like, for a speed team, maybe Megan, Lua. If you don't have Lua, Mentura, or the Dark Penguinite is an AoE armor breaker. I think like anything that can AoE armor break, like Megan, the AoE armor breaker. Let's say if you have Lua, he decreases attack by 50% too. It's really great, and you can attack speed slow with the second skill. And then I would put in a Hua for a single target damage dealer and 2 AoE defense breakers, AoE attackers, and it should work too. If you want to have like a free to play farmable speed team, then I would recommend something like Vermos, Beladion, Bernard, Megan, and Theomos. I include Theomos because now he is farmable. It will take a lot of time to farm it, but if you are shooting for a speed team on giants, then you have played enough. If you are in a like farming guild or something like this, you have farmed enough to summon like at least 2 Ifrits, and if you summon the third one, you will get the elemental scroll, and then you can summon the Theomos. If you only have put like Tazarian or only Akamamir, then you can go for something like this. So yeah, I think that's all comps I think are viable. They are sure, like you can be creative and do like other stuff, it can work, but something I need to say, maybe I should have said it earlier, your rune quality. Do not forget your rune quality. Like I forget to click the runs here. I was sleeping on that because I was talking to you guys. Yeah, what was the rune quality? Like if you go for the Giants B10 clear team, then I would say you need the 2, 4, and 6 slots as at least 5-star runes, and you can get away with 4-star runes on the other slots, but I think for the 2, 4, and 6 you should at least have 5-star runes on your Giants B10 monsters. Then it will be safe enough to call it the 100% team. I mean, sure, they can always be like something can go wrong, but it will be really viable, let's put it that way. If you're going for the attack by manipulation type of comp, then you will need swift runes, so you can get away with less speed subset, or really good runes which have speed overall, because speed is the most important part. You don't care for the HP as much because you don't want the giant to move anyway. Sure, he can counter, but until he counters, you must have done enough damage to be able to survive the rest of the fight. And for the speed team, of course, only 6-star runes on your monsters, especially your attackers, because you need the damage output. Like you can only barely survive 1, maybe 2 turns if he glances. Like for me, I have 2 Lucians. When they use the surprise box, they most of the time they glance the giants, and then when he does the AoE, he glances everyone, he doesn't deal as much damage. Then I can go for another turn. But if he attacks, crits, or does a crushing hit, then most of the units are like 10%, and the next turn they will die for sure. So keep that in mind, that not only the rolls are important of the monsters, but the rune quality as well. So never go for a speed team if you don't have the rune quality. And you can, of course, even the speed team, you can do it without violent runes. So if people are saying, man, your Galleon needs to be violent and bullshit. If you have a Galleon, you can give him speed runes, give him as most accuracy as possible, and he will work. Even though Galleons tend to derp, like if you give Galleon 100% accuracy, he derps more than with 70% accuracy. I don't know why it is so, but for me it's the most of the time so. And I've seen some YouTuber which have the same problem, like you see them using 100% Galleon and it's always like this thrill. You see the time to loot and you don't know if you will land the armor break or not. So yeah, sure, violent helps, like your Galleon could violent proc and armor break with the first skill, but like I said, it's not a must have. You can get away with swift runes. Yeah guys, that's all for my Giants B10 guide. Like I said, the whole purpose to bring variety to the game. I don't like if everyone comes up with the most efficient strategy and everyone follows the same path. We will all have the same accounts, the same monsters, and it's boring. And now I have the experience, I know the monsters, I've researched the multipliers, the stats and whatnot, so I can, like, I'm pretty confident that the things I have said and the monsters I've showed you are useful and can be used in Giants. So if you want to use your own team, build your own team and go for your own strategy with you came up with your own composition, then go ahead. You know, have the guide to know how to build a team, and know you can do it on your own. I think it's better to teach a guy fishing than giving him a fish. You know you can fish yourself. And yeah, you don't have to look like, yeah man, I've used the same 5 monsters for every dungeon and I want to improve and I don't know what to use. No, you get a feeling for it. If you build your team yourself, you get a feeling for building a team, for tuning it, and I think it will help you more than like just watching a tutorial. Yeah, how to build it. These are the stats. You cannot do anything else than these stats, these runes. If you don't have this, you cannot do it. And then you shooting for it, you're working for it, you're sacrificing other stuff for it, and then it's not worth it, because once you have accomplished it, you're farming giants, then you start working on dragons, and suddenly you get some violent runes, and suddenly monsters like Shannon fall off, and you are like, man, why did I 6-star it? Sure, it helped for that time, but in the long run, it's not worth it. So go for these monsters here. Maybe there are some which people don't use in Giants yet, but I use for them PvP, so I would always go for monsters you could use in PvP too. So even if that monster doesn't do his job anymore, you can use it in PvP and it will still be fun. But like I said, like monsters like Shannon, I can use her. You can use her in PvP, but what you're gonna do with her? Like, there's Megan, you know. So yeah, that's all from my perspective. If I've missed anything, tell me in the comment section, guys. If you have some other suggestions, or you have some team comps and you know how to tune them, and you would say, hey, how about this? You forget about like teams like this, they can work in Giants too. Tell me, like, I want to learn new stuff too. If I don't know about anything, then it's so like you can't know everything. And yeah, you can post your comps and I can rate them for you if you want. So just post it and I can tell you if this can work or not with your runes or not with your runes. And yeah, so we can interact with each other. But anyways, guys, I've talked enough. I think you've been bored. You must have been bored. But yeah, I think you will see more videos like this where I will be talking a lot and you will not see a lot of action on the screen. I really hope that I get my phone back this week so I can do some RTA stuff and shit, and my usual RTA montages and stuff that I really love to do. And yeah, until then, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share word, share the love, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.